Right, this is going to be quite a quick video, but in reading Mascall's book there was a lot of confusion, especially from Malcolm from JGR. Check his channel out. It used to be John J. Rambo, but now it's just JGR. But Malcolm, there was a lot of confusion regarding the latch trap which Mascall drew, and it had me a bit confused for a while until I read Deadfalls and Snares by A.R Harding, in which he showed a frame similar to this with a toggle and a long trigger tied to the frame for catching mink and things like that. And this is more like A.R Harding's shape, a long rectangular, but the concept looked familiar. And when rewatching Malcolm's video on Mascall's other traps, I quickly realised this is how Mascall's latch trap must have been made and how it must work. Like I say, this is more like A.R Harding's demonstration or example. Mascall's was more of a pyramid shape, tapering towards the lower frame and widening up near the kill section. But the concept is remarkably the same, even though there's probably a good 400 years difference, 300, 400 years difference. But the next clip is just going to be me showing how it's set, how to set it up, and it's a really fine trigger, and I believe this is what would have been used for polecats. Mascall regards it as you set it in a permanent place, more or less, in a break. It's also called the break trap, or latch or break trap in this book. You'd probably want to set it in a gap in a hedge where vermin and other creatures are coming through quite regularly. You could scale this up, obviously, for much larger things, especially if you had larger sections of timber to make the frame. But it works with a toggle going over cross pieces. So you've got a crossbar and you've got forked branches. Now, Mascall's book, there's two drawings of the latch trap in the same engraving. There's the side view of it set up and a top view, and in the top view you can see forked branches and a cross piece, and you can also see the toggle. So I believe this is what Mascall was referring to in the latch trap. And like I say, next clips is just going to be the trap setup and how to set it. Really effective trap. Once it takes a bit of a while to get the notches right and line it up correctly, but once you've got it sussed, it's a really sensitive trigger and quite easy to set though as well. And this would be a very effective trap for catching polecats or mink in modern days. You wouldn't want to be trying to catch polecats nowadays, and I don't even know if this would be considered legal for use on vermin or other game in America and stuff like that. But like I say, very simple concept. It's as long as you had the frame, all you'd have to find is the deadfalls, which I'm just using in logs and things like that, or rocks. You can permanently tie the logs to this, but the actual trap mechanism itself, its frame, it's quite easily transportable. So I'll just get the next clip of the trap setup. So this is the trap setup. You got the frame, you got logs added for dead weight. Mascall's drawing from the top shows cross sticks and a cross branch like that, which the toggle rides over. The trigger's tied onto the frame at the back, it's held in. You'd want to set this trap in a gap, in a hedge, or another place where animals are running through. Probably block off this end, but keep an area clear for the toggle stick to ride up. This is only a smaller example. You could make it larger. I could probably put more weight on it, but it's bedded into the ground, so it's more of a permanent placement for the trap. And the frame itself is what actually adds to the killing power. It's more of a scissoring action than a crush. Obviously you want to set it in a gap, in a run. You have a toggle, which also shows up in Mascall's drawing, and the trigger. The trigger is more of a board with a notch cut in it, but I'm just using hazel for the toggle and the trigger. Probably want to camouflage it, so it doesn't really matter where that part the animal comes through in this scissor. As long as it hits the trigger and sets the trap off, it'll go off. So the animal comes along, probably a polecat. I think this is more of a polecat trap, or maybe a feral cat trap. Comes along, steps over the board into this pit between the scissors and taps the trigger, and it scissors it in like a scissoring action. That's quite solidly in there because of the scissoring action. Like I say, you probably want to add more weight, but I I think this is what Mascall was trying to demonstrate in the book. I know a lot of people are a bit perplexed by what the drone was trying to show, but I think I've cracked what the latch trap was. So that's just how I would set it, and that's how I believe it was meant to be set. And as you can see, it's quite an effective trap, especially for vermin like polecats and stoats and weasels. And you could probably scale this up for larger vermin. Right, so I'll just show you how to set it. Like I say, it works on a pretty similar concept to the Deadfalls. I've tied the logs down to hopefully stop them rolling around, but basically the trap's lifted and the toggle's brought over the cross piece, so it's holding the tension. It's like a bit of leverage going on. The trigger's brought forward and the toggle's engaged with the notch, like that. It's quite a hair trigger, and you want to try and keep your face out of the way of this toggle because it comes back with some force. Let's say you could enlarge this easily for any game really, and like I say, I've seen this design in another book, worked exactly the same, and I reckon that was what Mascall's original concept was, a scissoring action in a wooden frame. Like I say, the animal comes along, just taps the trigger, get out the way, just taps the trigger and trying to pass, and it's scissored. So that was just a quick video demonstrating what I believe Mascall was referring to as the latch trap or break trap. Especially after reading A.R Harding's Deadfalls and Snares, it seemed like that is what the latch trap or break trap would have been and how it would have worked. Slightly different design, but the concept's the same, a scissoring frame with Deadfalls added to match what you're trying to catch. There's a lot of traps in Mascall's book that demonstrate different vermin traps and so on, but if you actually look throughout history, closer to modern times, you see over and over again similar traps, similar trap triggers, slightly different, but it just proves the longevity of the effectiveness of these traps. He mentions cage traps for catching pheasants and other birds, which are exactly the same as what you know as a clepsy trap or arapuca or something like that. Just time proven the work. Don't know if I would want to try and use that nowadays, not probably legal, but in a situation where you might have to rely on trapping for your life and food isn't easily found and things like that, something like that would be equally effective. You could scale up, you could make it smaller for mice and rats. That size is probably ideal for fur bear and mink and polecats if it really came to it. Squirrels especially, that would work especially well for squirrels. I'd probably want to add more weight to that example, but you could scale out the ridiculously large proportions and you could catch foxes and things like that. So that was just a quick video demonstrating the latch trap or the break trap in how I think it would have been. There was a lot of confusion regarding the latch trap by a lot of people who have read the book. So I hope that's helpful, and I would recommend trying that trap out. And this is obviously just a shout at the Malcolm, and I would love to see him attempt at making this trap because I think he could do a better job at constructing it than I can. But try and get examples of the book, read the book, and try out these time-tested traps. So thank you for watching. Please like, rate, and comment and subscribe in supporting me in creating this content, which, like I say, I'm neither a bushcrafter or a survivalist. I'm more of a traditional field crafter and shooter and hunter and fisherman using traditional methods, which I think they've worked for that long. That why would they be any less effective nowadays? So like I say, thank you for watching, thank you for your support, and I'll catch you on the trail again.